Hey guys, this is Miss Mo. This is 1.8. 1.8 is about how you do multiple things to numbers, like adding and subtracting and multiplying and maybe a divide symbol and what order you do it in. And then we also have some random square roots at the end. Okay, so when we talk about which order to do the math in, we have to follow something called PEMDAS. And you probably remember it from when you were a kid. It means, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. That's the acronym that we can use, or the phrase that we can memorize. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And P means parentheses. Or it could also mean these things called brackets. Brackets are another form of parentheses. Or it might be this thing called braces, which are like squiggles. Yeah. So if you're looking at our keyboards, the parentheses, that's what means multiply. The bracket, that's what means multiply. And this little squiggle, it's called a brace, that means multiply. Okay, and then exponents are in the air. Multiply, you either see an X or you see just a dot. Multiply can be shown with a dot, or you might see an asterisk, like a little star, or you might see parentheses. Yeah. Okay, and up here when it says parentheses, you see that for parentheses, I drew parentheses, but then I also drew them for multiply. Parentheses means do what's inside the parentheses. So first we would do what's inside the parentheses, and then later we would end up multiplying something that was outside the parentheses. Okay, D means divide, A is addition, S is subtraction. Yeah, okay, we get that. And if you look at the MD, it says M or D and A or S. And then if you look at the top, it says you always work left to right. So that means if all you have is multiply and division left on your piece of paper, you're going to go left to right. So if all I had was multiply and divide and multiply and divide, if all I had was a bunch of multiply and divide left, just multiply and divide, then you do that left to right. You would do 3 times 2, then multiply that times 5, then divide it by 3, then times it by 12, then divide it by 1. Okay, that's if you have just multiplication and addition left. Multiplication and division left. Okay, if you just have add and subtract left, you don't have to do all the add first and then the subtract for second. You can just do them left to right. So if all you see on your paper is addition and subtraction, like 3 plus 7 minus 4 plus 9 minus 12, that's just plus and minuses. You don't have to do all the adds, the plus signs first. You can just go left to right. 3 plus 7, figure that out. Then subtract 4, figure that out. Then plus 9, figure that out. Then minus 12, figure that out. Okay. So that's what that left to right means. It means if you just have multiply or divide, you do it straight left to right. If you just have addition and subtraction, you do it straight left to right. If you have a combination of all this stuff, you have to follow PEMDAS. Okay, let's look at this first example. First, I'm going to see, actually, let's look in this colorful example. Okay, so we have 3 plus 7 times 6 divide 3. Okay, if all I had was multiply and divide, I'd go left to right. If all I had was addition and subtraction, I'd go left to right. But I have a combination of everything. So I have to follow this order of PEMDAS, exponent, multiply, divide, addition, subtraction. Okay, so our first question is there anything inside parentheses to do? And if I write down PEMDAS, let's see. So the question was, is there anything inside parentheses to do? Nope, not on this first problem. So, nope. Are there any exponents? Nope, not on this first problem. Is there a multiply sign? Heck yes, there is. Where's the multiply sign? Right here. 7 times 6. So let's do that. You're going to bring down the 3 and the plus and the divide and the 3. But we're going to do whatever that 7 times 6 is. So 7 times 6, 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42. 42. And remember, on your first test, you cannot use a calculator. You have to do all this in your head or by hand. Okay, so we took care of the multiply. Yes. Now, let's see, is there a division? And there is a division. The division is divide by 3, but what are we dividing by 3? We're dividing 42 by 3. Okay, so let's do 42 divided by 3. I think this should be an easy division. 3 goes into 4 once to make a 3. Then we subtract down, and you get 1, and you bring down the next number, 2, 12. 3 goes into 12 4 times to make 12, and when you subtract, you get a 0. So huzzah! 42 divided by 3 is 14. And then I'm going to keep that 3 plus. Okay, now, what's the only symbols you have left over? The only symbol you have left over is addition. 3 plus 14. And then it looks like there's no subtraction. Okay, so let's do 3 plus 14. That just makes 17. Yay, that's the final answer, 17. Okay, let's look at this next sucker. If I write out the PEMDAS, let's see, is there anything inside parentheses? And there is stuff inside parentheses. The stuff inside these parentheses is 6 times 4. So let's do it. 6 times 4. 6, 12, 18, 24. Okay, 24 divided by 3, and then I'm going to write down everything else. Okay. Now let's go to the E. E means exponent. I don't see a tiny number in the air. Goodbye. M means multiply, like a multiply dot, or multiply parentheses, or multiply bracket, or multiply X, but we don't see that, so no multiply. Is there any division? Hot dog, there is. We got the D right here. Division, 24 divided 3. Let's see, 24 divided by 3. I think that's just 8. 8, 16, 24. That's 3. Yeah. So 24 divided by 3 is 8. And then let me write down everything else. So when I write down the 8, that counts for the 24 and the divide 3. But then I still had to write minus 6 and plus 2. Okay, now what do I have left over? All I have left over is a plus sign and a minus sign. So this is where, since all I have left over is addition and subtraction, then I can do it left to right. I don't have to do the add first, then the minus. I can just go left to right. So let's see here. What is 8 minus 6? That's 2. And then don't forget to drop down this plus 2. So 2 plus 2 is 4. Yay, 4 is the answer. Okay, let's look at this guy. If I were to think of PEMDAS, there's no P, okay? There's no E, exponent. Oh, there is an exponent. Look at that, 2 squared. That means 2 times 2. Or, if you look back here, it has all the squareds. Like 1 squared is 1. 2 squared is 4, because it's 2 times 2. 3 squared is 9 because it's 3 times 3. 4 times 4 is 16. 5 times 5 is 25. 6 times 6 is 36. So yeah, here are the squares if you need them on the next page. Okay, but for us, that square, 2 squared is 4 times 9 divided by 3. Okay, so we just took care of that exponent. Now, P-E-M. Oh, but look, all we have left are M and D, multiply and divide. So that means you can go left to right, because there's only multiply and division left. Yay. So let's multiply. 4 times 9. 9, 18, 27, 36. 36. And then there's a divide, 3. And then we have to divide 36 by 3. So I could put a 36 in a house, put a 3 outside. 3 goes into 36 once because of the 3. But then I have to bring down my 6, and 3 goes into 6 twice, evenly. So 36 divided by 3 is 12, and that's the answer for the problem. Yay. Okay, let's do ones that are for sure straight from your homework. So these are copy and pasted, but yours will be slightly different because the numbers change. Okay, so first, let me write out my PEMDAS. When you get to college algebra, we do something called SADMAP, which is the backwards. Okay, so for PEMDAS, first we see if there's anything inside the P, inside the parentheses. Oh, there is, yeah. Okay, so let's do that inside the P. 4 times 3 is 12, and then let me write down everything else. We still have 5 times 3 plus a 4. And then that 12 is still in parentheses. And then we have a minus 7 at the back end. So that 4 times 3 is 12, but we still have parentheses there because there's a number in front. So we can't drop the parentheses yet. Whereas if you remember on this 6 times 4, I just wrote 24, bam, no more parentheses. That's because there was no number in the front of that parentheses before the 6x. So if there was a number before the parentheses, I'd put 24 in parentheses and keep the number in front. Kind of like here. There's a number before the parentheses, 4. So I'm just going to do the math inside and write it down. And keep that 4 in front of a parentheses. Okay, so we've done the P. Yay. Now is the E. I don't see any exponents. Goodbye. Now is multiply. Okay, for multiply, there's a couple of multiplies. Let's check it. I see 5.3. That means multiply. And then 4 parentheses 12. That also means multiply. So let's see here. 5 times 3 is 15. 4 times 12, 4. 48, so we have 15 plus 48. And when I do the multiply, 4 times 12, the parentheses go away. And then we have minus 7. Okay, and then it looks like there's no division, but there is addition and subtraction. But it's all that's left over. So I can go left to right. Or, yeah, okay. So left to right. Let's do 15 and 48. 15, 48. We're adding them. So that gives me 63 and then minus 7. Okay, so I got minus 7. I can't subtract 7 from 3, so I got to change that 6 to a 5, change the 3 to a 13. Okay, subtract those and we get 13 minus 7 is 6 with a 5 in front. So this makes 56. Yay! Okay, again. Okay, first I wrote out my PEMDAS. Now we're going to do what's in the parentheses. So in the parentheses is 24 minus 6. 24 minus 6. Okay. And 24 minus 6, that's 18. So let's rewrite everything. I'm going to keep the 5, divide 1, multiply 6, multiply 3, divide. And then now 24 minus 6 is 18. But the question is, do I keep those parentheses or do I not write down the parentheses? Well, let's remember on the last problem, I wrote down the parentheses because I still had a number in front, 4. Whereas up above here, when I did 6 times 4, I did not write the parentheses because there was no number in front to the left of it. Let's look at S. I have 24 minus 6. What's to the left of the parentheses? Is it a number? Nope, it's a divide sign. So that means we do not have to put the parentheses anymore. So if you still have a number attached to the front of the parentheses, you have to write them down. If you don't, if you just have like a divide sign, then you just write the number. Okay, so enough. Let's go to E. There's no exponent. M. There's lots of multiplies left, and there's lots of divides. Let's see, is there any addition? Nope. Is there any subtraction? Nope. So that means I literally just have multiply and divide left. So when you only have multiply and divide left, you go left to right. Okay, so back here from the PEMDAS, if you only have multiply and divide left, just these two suckers, if you only have these two suckers, then you do left to right. Okay, whereas earlier, like this left-hand problem, we only had addition and subtraction left over, and so we did it left to right. So if you only have a S left over, then you go left to right. Okay, so let's go back to us. We only have multiply and divide left, so we're going to go left to right. Let's see. 5 divided by 1. 5. Let me keep writing this down. Times 6 times 3 divided by 18. Okay, keep going left to right. 5 times 6 times 3. We could do that all in our head. 5 times 6 is 30. Times 3 is 90. So this makes 90, and then we divide it by 18. Okay, so we need to see how many times 18 can go into 90. If you remember those divisibility rules, this has a 0 in it. So let's try saying 18 times 10 or 18 times 5 to get to 90, because 90 has a 0 at the back end. Well, if I do 18 times 10, that's too big. That's like 180 or something. So let's try 18 times 5. And if we do 18 times 5, 8 times 5 is 40. So write down the 0, carry the 4. 5 times 1 is 5, plus that 4 is 9. Hot dog. So 90 divided by 18 is a Cinco. And again, the way I knew to choose a 5 or a 10 is because this last digit ends with a 0. Yeah, that's what we learned in 1.7. Okay, let's keep going. There's 2 more, and then a random square root. Okay, so let me go ahead and write out PEMDAS. And first we look to see if there's any parentheses. And there's no parentheses here. Woohoo! Then we see if there's an exponent. There's no exponent. Woohoo! Then we see if there's multiply. Wait a minute, this might be a plus sign. Oh, that's a plus sign, and that's a plus sign. Okay, my bad. Is there any multiply? Nope. Is there any divide? Heck yes, there is. Let's divide. Let's go look for my symbol. First off, you see this 0 divided by 6? 0 over 6? That's technically the D divide. Oh no. That's from D divide. Okay, let's see if there's any other divide. I think it says 27 divided by 9 right there. Yeah. That's a D divide. Okay, so let's write down everything except for the D divide. There was a 5 plus. Then we're going to put whatever 27 divided by 9 is. Then there's a plus sign before that fraction. So plus sign, and then there's a fraction. Okay, so let's see here. 27 divided by 9. 9, 18, 27. That's 3. 0 divided by a number. 0 divided by a number, no matter what, is 0. Yeah. So 0 divided by a number, whether it looks like this in fraction, or whether it has that old school 4th grade symbol, or if you have like 0 over a number. These are all just going to be 0. Okay, and then all we have left is addition, so let's do it. 5 plus 3, 8. Plus 0? Nope, just 8. All right, slide to the right. Okay, let me draw out my PEMDAS. Okay, first we see if there's anything in the parentheses, and there is. There's this 11 minus 7, that's the parentheses. So let's rewrite everything except for the parentheses. I think that's a plus sign. 11 minus 7 is 4. But the question is, do I still need to write down the parentheses? I only write down the parentheses if there's a number in front. Then you write the parentheses. Like we did on the front, on this bottom left picture. There was a 4 in front of the parentheses, so we kept writing down the 4 and the parentheses. Whereas here, there was no number in front of the parentheses, so we just wrote down the math. All right, look in front of our parentheses. I don't see a number, so I just write down whatever I got from the math. 4. No more parentheses, and then times 2. Okay, now we got some exponents. Okay, exponents are this 2 squared and this 1 to the 1. Well, 2 squared, it has it down here, is 4 because it's 2 times 2. Okay, 1 to the 1, anything to the 1 power is just whatever you got. So 3 to the 1 is 3. 4 to the 1 is 4. X to the 1 is X. If you have a heart to the 1 power, it's just a heart. Yeah, so no matter what you have with that 1 power, you still just get the exact same thing, whatever the big thing was. So 1 to the 1 power, I just get the exact same thing, the big number, 1. Okay, plus 4 times 2. Okay, let's see. Do I have multiply? Heck yes, I have multiply. So let's do the multiply. 4 times 1, then also the 4 times 2. So 4 times 1, 4. 4 times 2, 8. And then bring down this little plus sign, plus. Okay. Do we have division? Nope. Do we have addition? Yep. Let's do it. 4 plus 8 is 12. Yay, 12. Okay, let's keep going. Last sucker. It has some random square roots in it. Okay. First, let me do my PEMDAS. Okay. And then, square roots belong to the E exponent part of PEMDAS. So, up here in PEMDAS on the front page, exponents mean the number in the air, and they also mean if you have square roots. You'll learn in college algebra that square root is the same thing as an exponent, but you don't know that yet. Okay, so first what we're going to do is see if there's any parentheses, and there's not. Next time, or the next thing is E exponent, and we do, sort of, if you remember that exponent is kind of like a square root, and you'll learn that more in college algebra. So let's work on this square root. And the square root of 36 is 6. The square root of 4 is 2. So we're going to rewrite 8 multiply dot. The square root of 36 was just a 6 minus 6 multiplied at the square root of 4, which was 2. And you might be asking, well, where did this little square root house thing go? Well, when I take the square root of 36, it's just 6, and there's no more of this house. Okay, so I've done the exponent. Now it's time for the m. M means those dots. Okay, let's multiply. 8 times 6, I think that's 48. Minus 6 times 2, 12. And then that's all we have left to do, so let's go ahead and subtract them. And you get 36. Yay! Huzzah!